Welcome to your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Wednesday, June 17. The Barbados Workers Union sounds its support for the Barbados Optional Savings Scheme as the Senate debated a bill on the initiative designed to redirect almost $100 million to capital works projects to create jobs for thousands and to help maintain employment levels in the public sector. Independent Senator Tony Moore, the BWU's General Secretary, made it clear that the scheme was in the workers' best interests.
I want to say to public sector workers, first of all, there's no trickery in this that your representation has been party to. We recognize, and we've been hearing it the world over, that we are in unprecedented times, uncharted waters. Demands some creativity, demands doing things a little differently, and I think that I speak for labor when I say that to the best of our understanding, to the best of our capacity, collective capacity to understand what has been presented, we have done what we think provides the best context for a person who is interested in seeing how they may share in the burden. We have allowed for an element of job protection. We have allowed for a person not to extend themselves beyond the point that they can. And we have recognized that we have brothers and sisters in the private sector who need help. And the obligation is now ours to further ensure that where this help is provided, that it's not provided in a way that demeans them. It's not provided in a way under a banner of capital works that would see workers prostrating themselves. I didn't say prostitute. Prostrating themselves at the feet of people who just feel that they're giving handouts.
Government Senator Rodden Adams described the BOSS as innovative and noted that the optional savings scheme encourages public workers to invest in themselves while allowing government to kickstart capital projects. He says it's a jumpstart the economy needs.
I made the point that there's about $3 billion worth of private sector capital projects in the pipeline, and for the most part, those have slowed right down in terms of execution. And a lot of that is due to the psychological impact of COVID. Most people have adopted a wait-and-see attitude. Now you can see this amongst individuals. It's very clear to most people that they are not lashing out on a new flat-screen television. They are hunkering down. They're husbanding what they've got to make sure that they can survive whatever is coming their way. And businesses are doing the same thing. Whether those financiers are domestic or foreign, they also have a wait-and-see attitude. Now, for us, the longer that continues, the closer we will be to disaster. We have to break that cycle.
Opposition Senator Crystal Drake says she supports public workers making a contribution to capital projects, but she says there's a need for government to answer a number of questions, particularly since it's asking workers to make a sacrifice.
Does anyone know what is the anticipated rate of return for those private businesses that will carry out the road works, the school upgrades, the environmental cleanups, and the water system upgrades? Can we answer that question? Because we're telling public sector workers 5% is a good deal. 5% is a good deal because the bank is not giving you anything. But sir, I think it's only fair in this climate you are asking me to sacrifice to give to somebody else. If I'm getting 5% and my money is going to be the vehicle to drive their activity, what are they getting?
Senator Drake also made a strong case for the government to face up to the bigger problem of fixing the public wage bill. She suggested that while the BOSS is a temporary fix, it wouldn't go far enough to correcting the island's structural problems.
If COVID-19 does not make us face our reality and face the facts and have a mature conversation about how we restructure the public sector, at least as a medium-term strategy, because I understand in the short term, something has to happen. Something has to happen. But, sir, the hard choices, and I understand, boss. I understand it. But, sir, I want us to start being more mature and talk about the structural problems that we have. Because what we keep doing, sir, is robbing ourselves of future prosperity when we ignore the underlying problems that we have.
The COVID-19 pandemic threatened to cripple the hotel sector with more than $250 million in severance payments. According to Chairman of the National Insurance Scheme, Ian Goodin-Edgell, this would have bankrupted the sector. Last evening, government approved changes to the Severance Payments Amendment Bill 2020 in Parliament, which gives employers 22 weeks before having to make severance payments.
I know, sir, of companies, and I heard it in the debate today, that there were some companies that were faced with 1.3 million. I can tell you that there was one hotel group that was faced with a bill of 9.2. I know another hotel company with a group of hotels in Barbados that was faced with a bill of over $20 million, sir. So it would not, and I think these are the facts, Mr. Speaker, that we have to put on the table when we're in these discussions, so that the people out there will understand why it is the government will have to take certain actions. But it's not only, Mr. Speaker, about the protection of a severance payment bill to hotel companies in Barbados. It is also about the preservation of employment for Barbadians who work in that sector, indirectly and directly, Mr. Speaker.
In other news today, students and teachers will no longer have to wear face masks in the classroom. Word of this from Acting Chief Education Officer Joy Addison, amid concerns about the length of time students were expected to keep on the mask. Following consultations with Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Anton Best, Addison says health authorities have recommended that in circumstances where children are stationary and physically distant, 6 feet apart from each other, such as in the classroom or during examinations, fabric face coverings or face masks may be removed. However, at all other times, masks are to be worn. The rule also applies to teachers. In today's COVID-19 update, 2 of 7 patients left isolation at the Harrison Point facility in St. Lucie today. No one tested positive for the viral illness yesterday out of the 134 tests conducted by the Best de Santos Public Health Laboratory. 78 tests were done at the request of the cruise liners berthed off Barbados. The number of recovered persons has now risen to 85, and the number remaining in isolation stands at 5. Of the 97 confirmed cases in Barbados, 7 people have died. The Public Health Laboratory has completed 7,094 tests.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news now. In the Bahamas, some of the country's major resorts have unveiled a variety of opening dates, with several pledging an instant relaunch, while others have elected to wait until almost year-end. More in this report from ZNS News.
The delay in the opening of major hotels until the fourth quarter is not the best news for Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Dionisio de Aguilar, who is hoping for, but he says those properties have their reasonings. He also pointed out that the Ministry of Tourism did not waste its marketing campaign aimed at attracting visitors back to the destination when the borders officially open on July 1st.
The work that has been done has sensitized us to what is necessary to open in this new post-COVID environment. We had to go through the process of what the protocols would be, what the health steps that we would have to understand. So, it gives us more time to get it right. And I think we'll be wonderfully positioned when these larger resorts, or those resorts that have decided not to open until later, actually open.
On the international front, a police officer who fatally shot a fleeing black man in the back last week in Atlanta, Georgia, will be charged with murder and assault. Officials say the officer, who has already been fired, faces 11 charges related to Rayshard Brooks' death. If convicted, he could face the death penalty.
The first charge is felony murder. This is the death that is as a result of an underlying felony. And in this case, the underlying felony is aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.